Hello! So I wanted to do the mid-year book freakout tag. It has been a tag that's been going around for a really long time, and I've seen a bunch of people already post about it, and so I thought I'd join. So far this year I have read 10 books, which doesn't seem like a lot, but I feel like there's a lot of unrealistic expectations on BookTube and Book Talk of how many books you have to read per year. And you know, reading is a hobby for me and not something that I do for a job or something that I do every single day. It's something that I do whenever I'm feeling up to it or looking to read something. So I do have a lot of opinions on the books I have read this year, and so I thought I would go ahead and do this tag with you. The questions I will go ahead and put in the description below just in case you'd like to do this as well or would like to answer them in the comments. I'd love to hear your answers as well. I personally got the questions from Emma, or Emmy, which is what she is better known as here on YouTube. So let's get started. So the first question is, best book you've read so far this year? This one is pretty easy for me. I talked a little bit about it in my bookshelf tour, but that would be Praise by Sarah Kate. This book is about Emerson, Grant, and Charlie. They meet as she goes to apply for a job, and he is the boss, so it is billionaire boss, secretary, or employee romance, but things quickly spin out of control as she learns that he owns adult club, we'll call it. And this book is amazing. If you're at all into more spicy romances, I would definitely recommend. This was the only 5-star I've given so far this year. That is a novel. The other Sarah Kate books are coming out soon and I can't wait. The next book is the best sequel you've read so far in 2023. Oh my gosh. And that would have to be Heartstopper Volume 3. Heartstopper is an adorable series with Nick and Charlie, and I'm sure if you haven't read it, you've definitely heard about it. There's now a TV show adaptation about it as well. But for this one, Nick and Charlie go on a school little vacation trip, and it is adorable. This is definitely my favorite in the Heartstopper series so far, and I can't wait to continue it. I heard that a book 5 is actually going to come out now when book 4 was supposed to be the original end, so I'm really excited to kind of see how the series ends. A new release you haven't read or want to read. So I kind of have a few different answers for this. They're not new releases as in like 2023, but they're new releases to me and or new releases within the last year or so. So I have two different answers. The first one is Twisted Games by Anna Huang. I read Twisted Love, gosh, probably 2 weeks ago now, and Twisted Games is the next in the series. This has to do with Bridget, who is one of Ava from the first series, friends, and her bodyguard Rhys, R-H-Y-S, Larson. And it's a bodyguard princess romance, I guess you could call it, and I'm really excited. This came out in 2022, I believe, but it's definitely one I'm looking forward to. And the other one is The Fine Print, The Billionaire's Romance, and this is by Lauren Asher. This one is about Rowan, who owns a almost replica to what would be Disney World or Disneyland, and the romance he gets in with someone that works for him. So it's kind of similar to Praise in that employee-employer romance, but definitely seems a little bit different. A lot of people say this is actually a lot more of a slow burn than expected, but I'm looking forward to finally reading it. The most anticipated release for the second half of the year. For me, that is definitely Eyes on Me by Sarah Kate. That is the second book in the Salacious Player series. I think it comes out in September in paperback. Otherwise, it's already out, and I'm really excited to get to that one. And then also Cruel Seduction by Katie Robert. I believe this comes out in August, if not a little bit later. I'm still on the 4th book in the series. This is for the Neon God series. The 4th book is called, I currently have it on Libby actually. The 4th book is Radiant Sin. I definitely need to finish that one so that when Cruel Seduction comes out, I'm ready for it. But those are definitely the two that I'm looking forward to the most. Biggest disappointment. There's actually a few books I could put for this. I think the second book in the Riverdale series, Get Out of Town, would definitely be one of them. The Riverdale series books aren't as great as I was hoping they would be. They're a little bit, they follow the plot a little bit too closely from the regular series. The second one just wasn't really as gripping as I would hope it would be. And then also the third book in the Neon God series, Wicked Beauty. I don't know, I was going through a really difficult mental health time when I read this, so I don't know if that kind of clouded my judgment. But for some reason, this one just didn't feel like Katie Roberts' normal stories. It felt a little more fantasy-esque, which I'm not a huge fantasy reader, so it was definitely something that caught me off guard and something that I wasn't enjoying as much, and so I definitely say that was a really big disappointment for me. Biggest surprise, I'm gonna say it again, but praise by Sarah Kate. I have heard about this on Book Talk, and I haven't heard a lot of people on BookTube actually read it, but I thought I would like this, but I didn't realize how much I was going to love this book, and I'm hoping the rest of the series is as good, because if it's not, I'm really disappointed. But I definitely would recommend this again if you are into more adult spicy romances. This is definitely one I would check out. You can get it now in paperback at Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Target has it sometimes, so I would definitely take a look and see if you can find it anywhere. Favorite new author? It's kind of hard because I've only really read beginnings of series this year for new authors, so I would definitely have to say, once again, Anna Huang from the Twisted series or Sarah Kate from the Salacious Players Club series. I think both of these authors mix plot and more spicy, smutty things perfectly, and it doesn't feel like there's too much of one or too much of the other. They both have the miscommunication trope in the first one, which I hate, but it's done well, like it kind of makes sense. But it's definitely something to keep an eye out for if you really hate the miscommunication trope. But these are definitely two authors that I'm going to continue to read throughout the year and see if they solidify themselves as a favorite. Newest fictional crush and newest favorite character, I'm gonna say, are the same. It is Emerson Grant from the Salacious Players Club series. As you can tell, I love this series and I cannot wait to get my hands on the new books. But Emerson Grant is kind of everything I love in a main male protagonist. I normally don't love men in my books as much as the female. I always love the female characters more. That's probably just because I'm a queer female. But there was something about Emerson Grant that I just found so charming and interesting and lovely, and I just loved him. I thought he took care of Charlie so well. It's definitely a dynamic I both found intriguing and well written. You can definitely tell that Sarah Kate knows what she's talking about and not just someone that's kind of trying to adapt into this world. Book that made you cry. I actually don't think I've cried from a book this year, but I would say the closest one would probably be A Stolen Life by J.C. Dugard. This is a true story by J.C. Dugard, who was kidnapped and lost for I think almost 20 years. She was kidnapped by a horrible, horrible man and his wife. It is a story I would definitely recommend you look into. If you are triggered at all by sexual assault of a minor on page, it might be one I would skip. I would definitely look up the trigger warnings before reading this one, but it is a harrowing story. At least read her story online. I think she is an amazing woman and definitely someone that I look up to for her courage. I think it's definitely a great one to read. It's not enjoyable by any means, but it's an important one to be out there. Book that made you happy, definitely Heartstopper Volume 3. Heartstopper is just a warm hug, it feels like, and Alice Esmond does such a great job at Nick and Charlie's characters and making them feel real, but also young and naive and learning. And I think that's a really hard thing to write as an adult. You have to almost put yourself backwards, and I think she does a great job with it. Nick and Charlie's relationship is so adorable, and I think with this book, them going on this school trip really solidified their relationship in my head, because the last two books have really been building, and this book felt like more of an actual adventure with the two of them, and you can kind of see how they work together outside of normal life circumstances, and it was a really, really cool read. Would definitely recommend the Heartstopper series if you haven't read it already. It is adorable. It's, I think, a little bit overhyped. Everyone talks about how it's like the best thing ever. I wouldn't say it's like the best series, but if you like graphic novels or are looking to get into graphic novels, it's definitely a series I would check out. Most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received? I don't think I have any, honestly. I love how the Twisted series looks by Anna Huang. I really do love the covers. I think they're really beautiful. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? I think all the books that I'm currently in the middle of. So there's quite a few that I am in the middle of right now. I would say Spare by Prince Harry. I've been stuck at 51% of that book for the longest time. Breathless by Jennifer Niven. I've been stuck at 50% of that book for the longest time. Misfit by Elle Kennedy. I just started, but it's definitely one I want to get into. I just started Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna McGuire, the beginning of her like Portal series. So all of those for sure. I'm also reading The Body Keeps Score. I'm not sure if I'm going to put it in my DNF for now pile. I just went through some mental health stuff recently, like I kind of already mentioned, so reading about it isn't something that I'd really like to do at this moment, but it's definitely a book I want to get to in the long term. I think too, just finishing up some series, or at least getting further in some series I'm reading, like the Zodiac Academy, the Twisted series, Salacious Player Club series, my Pokemon manga, my Sailor Moon manga, possibly reading the last book in the 50 Shades series. I have put that off for so long because I just don't want it to end. Let me see what other series I'm really in the middle of right now. I'm reading 14 series right now, which is fucking insane. Oh yeah, Reflection. I don't know if that's one that's like on the top of my list, but that's definitely one that's important. Heartstopper Volume 4. Oh, I need to read Zoe Suggs' second book in the Magpie Society series because it's only a duology, so then I can mark that off my list. And then I would like to continue with the Harry Potter series, which I mentioned a little bit during my bookshelf tour. So that is the mid-year book freakout tag. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions or any thoughts. Also let me know what books you've been reading, or let me know in the comments if you also have done this tag. I would love to listen or read comments about the books that you're currently enjoying or the books that you've read this year that you enjoy. Thanks to anyone that watched. Remember to subscribe if you would like to, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye guys!